Hello. So you're trying to figure out what movies to watch for Christmas, and you want something that's cool and not lame. Well, we made a list of 10 movies or more that you could watch for the holidays this year, and we're going to talk about them. So send us your suggestions in the comments. We'll talk about them here. We're going to introduce our movies and tell you who would like these movies. They're all different styles. So my number one, my first Christmas movie for 2024 is...
I probably should have guessed this one. Is it Batman Returns?
It is. I gave it away in the thumbnail. If you're looking for something a little bit weird and a little bit darker and 90s superhero-y, Michael Keaton starring as Batman versus Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman and Danny DeVito as Penguin. Yeah, it gets a little bit weird. There's a dangerous circus gang and a poodle that catches batarangs in the air, and Batman sets people on fire. So
Batman blows a guy up with dynamite.
Yeah, and yes, he puts dynamite down someone's pants. You got to see it. It starts off with a very iconic scene. They are lighting up the Christmas tree in Gotham City, and it's just really cool, atmospheric. There's these giant stone statues on each side of the Christmas tree. I love it. Do you guys think this is a Christmas movie? I mean, there's snow. It takes place at Christmas. There's Christmas decorations everywhere.
It gives off the vibe of Christmas. Yeah. I mean, it makes you think of Christmas when you watch it.
Doesn't it end? No spoilers or anything.
It's not a traditional one, but, sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it ends with, like, Alfred telling Batman Merry Christmas, or telling Bruce Wayne Merry Christmas, doesn't it?
Goodwill to men and women.
Yeah, that's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I won't say it's not.
I mean, this really is one of my Christmas traditions. I don't do it every year, but like when I get ready to be in the Christmas spirit, or whatever you want to call it, that's my movie.
Yeah, and I think that I see it more like that than a Christmas movie. It is a Christmas tradition. And because it is to you, it is a Christmas movie to you. I guess because I've got one in my list that is not traditionally a Christmas movie, but there is Christmas time in it, and there's a beautiful song, and it's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I watch it every year for Christmas. So I'll let you have it.
Well, why don't you go and introduce your next movie?
I do want to ask real quick, though, as going with Doug. I think we had this debate last year, because I'm the believer that Die Hard is a Christmas film. Doug is not. But we came to the conclusion that if you feel it is, and it makes you feel warm and fuzzy, then it is. And also, one more thing. You know the character in Batman Returns, Max Schreck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what that name comes from?
Man 9 from Outer Space.
No,
it's that.
No,
Nosferatu.
Yeah, Nosferatu.
He was the
actor who played Dracula in Nosferatu.
In the silent film Nosferatu. Yeah.
Boy, I can kind of see
it. Has nothing to do with Christmas, but anyway. Doug?
All right. What were mine? I can't remember. Well, I won't go too deep into it, because if you want a detailed breakdown of the movie, check back in our library, because the movie A Christmas Story is one of my favorites. Got to watch it every year. I mean, for years, and they may still be doing it today. TBS or TNT would play it for 24 hours straight.
They still do.
They still do. That movie it was a movie that was such a flop when it came out. And I think it took our Generation X, to grow up and see it as an older kid, a teenager, and then as an adult, and then as a parent, that made this movie resonate so much. Because generation before us, the boomers, they weren't big moviegoers like Gen Xers were. Late 70s into the 80s, people went to see movies every week where, the boomers kind of went monthly, if that. So when this movie came out, it just wasn't something that a lot of people were drawn to, so they didn't go and watch it. But like I said, once it started playing on TV, and then the Generation X who actually went in and started watching movies a lot more, found this movie and just made it more and more popular until, it has the cult-like status it does today.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear you say that, because maybe you told me on that other podcast, but when I grew up, I mean, this film had like a cult status. My dad and my brother thought it was hilarious. My mom thought it was lame. So, but yeah, it is
true.
very 80s.
Yeah, and they released it in late November 1983, so right before Christmas started, and it just did not take off in theaters because by the time Christmas is over, they pulled it out of the theater. No one's watching a Christmas movie after Christmas. So it didn't have a long runtime. Plus, Return of the Jedi is still in theaters, and I think we looked it up where there was a lot of big movies that came out.
Yeah, 83 was a pretty good year.
Yeah, in early 84. So it kind of got buried, but it took TV and TNT and TBS to really get that going. Because I remember being little, fourth grade, fifth grade, or something like that, and that's when I started noticing it and watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, I don't know, 5 years after it was released. So it didn't catch on until TV. But yeah, it's a good one. And the sequel
Who would you
wasn't
recommend
bad.
that movie to?
I think anybody should be able to watch that one. I really do. I think
you need to be a little bit older. I mean, the kids stuff is fun as a kid, but to really get the movie, you got to be able to understand the narration.
Yeah.
And, watching it, I don't know if I watched it as a kid, to tell you the truth. Because, as a younger kid who doesn't understand all of the jokes and, because especially when, can I say this? When
I don't know. I'm not
the
sure.
belief of things,
we're live,
where the belief of things are so strong as a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You miss a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So
you're right. I mean, you're right.
As an older, I'm not saying like an adult, but I'd say maybe 12, 13.
Yeah. The kids would laugh at some of the parts, of him getting his tongue stuck to a pole, mouth washed out with soap and stuff like that. You're right. Kids could get that, but I appreciate it more as an adult too. Part one is the nostalgic part of it. And I don't mean like watching it when I was little and growing up with it. I mean like being an adult and remembering when I was a kid and what it was like to be so excited to get, that certain present for Christmas or your birthday. So there's that aspect of it, and being a parent now, I do relate to the father a whole lot more than I did when I was younger, So, but yeah, I mean, it's got a little bit of everything for everyone.
Yeah, I think if you can remember growing up in the 80s or remember the 80s, you'll think it's funny. You have to think that dumb humor is funny, though. Because I think if you don't like dumb humor, and if you think The Office is stupid, you probably won't like it. But if you're cool with that stuff, I think you'll enjoy the jokes here.
It's a comedy without it's just kind of like Ghostbusters. They don't write the jokes to be funny. It's the situations, and
exactly
that's what makes it funny.
That's so good. It's such an intelligent comedy. Very
exactly.
That's solid.
Yeah.
Fragile must be French.
Italian.
Oh,
come on, man!
Shows how many times I've seen it. All right.
So yeah,
Drew.
that's one of my favorites.
Good call.
Yeah, you're up.
Okay, so I've got a more traditional movie, and it's played a lot around the holiday season, and that is It's a Wonderful Life, starring Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed. That is almost the film that you could watch anytime throughout the year. But you know, it takes place on Christmas Eve, and George Bailey is contemplating his life and ending his life because he thinks that he's worth more dead than alive. His family is struggling. His absent-minded uncle has misplaced a lot of money, and he doesn't know what to do. And he's on a bridge ready to go. And that's when you meet, you know, his guardian angel comes down and shows him what a great life he's had. And it starts back when he was a boy, and it goes all the way up to the present. And he becomes to realize that he's richer than he thinks he is, even though he has the money is not there. It's the way he's impacted so many lives. And had he not been there, this wouldn't have happened. This wouldn't have happened. And this wouldn't have happened. And it's just a chain of events, and how he's touched so many lives and made so many people's lives better, even though he doesn't feel it. He really is that important to everyone around him. It's just a great message for everybody that as bad as you think things are, you know, you're impacting people every day, whether you know it or not. And it's just a great story. And, you know, Jimmy Stewart's amazing anyway. So it's a lot of fun to watch him, and it's got some humor in it and stuff like that. So just, it's one that I've always watched, and it's probably one of my favorites. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm getting to it. I will have it done before Christmas.
Yeah, that is ironic that you bring that up, because my next pick is basically a remake of that movie, but I don't know if it was intentional. Maybe it was inspired, but do you have anything else on that one?
No, I was going to let you guys chime in on stuff.
Who's it for?
But if you
When
don't,
would you recommend it?
You need to be older. Kids aren't going to want to sit down and watch a 1944 black and white movie.
Not adults.
With all adults. And so, I mean, it's not going to be something that's going to entertain them. It's definitely for the older audience. But I think there's a message there that anybody, you know, could pick out of that, you know, things look bad, but if you look around you, you've got plenty of blessings.
Well, I guess on a related note, I should share mine then.
I'm going to guess
I
which one
was
this one is.
13 years old. I went to the theater to be stood up by a girl to watch this movie without her.
I know this one too.
Is Nicolas Cage and Tia Leone starring Family Man. We covered this a year ago, so if you want an in-depth analysis of this film, it's on our channel. But basically, Don Cheadle stars as an angel. Well, what is he, like a, what do you call, supporting actor? Yeah, he's pretty good in this movie, but he is basically an angel who turns Nicolas Cage's world upside down because he doesn't realize his impact on people and the life that he left behind in pursuit of a great career and things like that. So I'm not going to spoil anything, but you should watch that movie. That's a good one. And I saw it at 13. I didn't quite understand Nicolas Cage at that time. It was only maybe the first, maybe second Nicolas Cage movie I'd ever seen. I thought it was interesting, but I watched it, you know, a couple times since then around the holidays, and I was just blown away at, like, not only how deep the movie is, but man, Nicolas Cage's performance and Tia Leone, I mean, those are probably two of their best performances of their career. I think, if I remember correctly, she was nominated for Best Actress. Was that correct?
For Family Man?
I think I thought she got a nomination for that movie. And if she didn't, I mean, she was excellent. So if you want to see a movie that just has, like, out of the park performances, that's a good one. And, you know, Nicolas Cage can be up and down. He's one of my favorite actors, but this is one of his good, most meaningful roles. What's that?
She was nominated for Best Actress at the Saturn Awards, and she won for the Family.
Okay.
Saturn Awards are, I think, more science fiction, fantasy. awards.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, there is a little bit of a sci-fi. I would say there's like a miraculous dimension to this film, more of like a, I don't know, around Christmas, you get in the Christmas spirit, you start thinking about miracles and things like that. This film will take you there. So, but yeah, I mean, if you want to have a deep thinking movie and start thinking about have something that reminds you of what's important in your own life, like this is a good movie and it's entertaining and it's got some funny moments too. So,
yeah, very well.
Another one you can go back and watch our podcast on.
Yes, we did a good one on that one too. All right, Doug.
All right, Doug, you're up again.
Am I up already? Gosh. All right, I'll go with my non-Christmas movie. And this is Going My Way. Movie came out in I've got it here somewhere, 44. Bing Crosby, one of his biggest roles. He won an Academy Award for this. This movie won Best Picture the year it came out. And it's not a Christmas movie. There is it takes place over almost an entire year, if not a little bit longer. And it's about this young priest played by Bing Crosby, who is coming into town to take over for this older priest played by Barry Fitzgerald. And it's just about how they connect over that year period and what Bing does positive for the neighborhood and for the kids there that are a little bit rough. And, he brings them in, teaches them how to sing. And that's where the Christmas element comes in, because one of the songs that they sing is Silent Night, Holy Night. And it's a beautiful rendition, Bing singing, and then he's got the boys choir singing behind him. And it's just beautiful movie. It ends perfectly. There's it's my mom's favorite movie. She kind of got me hooked on Bing. Oh, he's over here. So it's just one of those things where every year I have to watch this movie. Tradition, like I said, it's not a Christmas movie, I'll admit to that, but traditionally I have to watch it every year.
Yep. I had not heard of that movie until last year when you brought it up. So, we watched it for our videos here, and it was really good. And it's like, how have I not heard of this? It won an Academy Award. And when you think of Bing Crosby in movies, the ones that always pop up are, Bing Crosby and Bob Hope doing their buddy comedies, or it's White Christmas, Holiday Inn. Like, he won an Academy Award for this. How come this is never mentioned? But it was a great film.
It won 7 Oscars, actually. Barry Fitzgerald won for supporting actor.
I mean, it was loaded. Best song?
Wait. Huh. Okay, that's weird. Barry Fitzgerald was nominated for Best Actor in a Leading Role and Best Actor in a Supporting Role for the same movie.
Yeah. Remember we talked about
How's that possible?
Right. That's how good he was.
Good point.
They were doing everything they could to get that guy an Oscar that year.
But yeah, best picture, best director, best actor, best supporting actor.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like, how do you not hear about this movie?
Yeah, it cleaned up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was really well done. And I love the interaction between the old grizzled priest and Crosby's character. The old guy is so set in his ways. And here comes this young guy who's kind of shaking things up a little bit. He's inviting the neighborhood kids to come into the church and trying to teach them to sing. And the old guy is like, why are you doing this? Like, I can't, these guys are thieves and they're no good. Why are we bringing them in here? It's like, well, because, why not? Mm-hmm. And it's a good movie.
I liked that part of the movie too, because I think we're in kind of a tricky time with religion. And I say this as a person who I work at a church doing music, and I also run a spiritual discussion group at a brewery. So I kind of interact with like a wide variety of people in terms of religion. And that film shows, it almost addresses some of the things that we're going through now in the world and religion, some of the tension, because this new pastor at this church, he's basically breaking down some of those things that complicate things, or maybe turn people away from religion. In the film, he's addressing those things that people are concerned about today. So I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah. I got the impression, like, if you liked White Christmas, you'd probably like Going My Way too. Who would you say this movie's for, Doug?
Definitely an older crowd. Not old, but probably not kids, not this one. I'd say teenagers and up. If you enjoy musicals, this is a musical. There's a lot of singing. And what's really cool is, like I said, it doesn't just take place in Christmas. It hits everything. And there's a great opera moment where they sing, what's the famous song she sings?
It's
that
Hold
one.
on.
Anyway,
that one.
So you
Lucci,
got you got some kind of little group dance music, you got some Christmas music, you got some beautiful music, you got some operatic music. Operatic, is that a word? If it's not, I'm making it. So there's just a lot going on in the movie musically, and just like Nathan said, has a great message. No, that's not the
one.
No, that's the
Ava
song.
Maria.
Yeah.
Ava Maria.
Ava Maria.
Ava Maria.
Ave Maria.
That's it.
Actually, there's a couple opera songs in it. So, but yeah, fun movie, good movie, and an Oscar-winning movie. So,
yeah.
All right, Drew, you're up next.
Well, now for something completely different. This movie did not win Oscars. The movie was never nominated for anything. Maybe a Razzie Award. I don't know. But this is my guilty pleasure Christmas film. I saw this when it was first released back in 1988. And I remember my aunt took me to see it. And I watch this all the time. And I cannot get my kids or my wife to watch this with me. And it's Ernest Saves Christmas. And I have a soft spot for this one.
Real quick, I checked. It did not win any awards.
It didn't win any. It's just nominated.
At the Razzies even?
No, it didn't
win
a Razzie or anything.
Did it even win a Razzie? Oh. Okay, so that's good.
You can't give Ernest a Razzie. I mean, come on. He went to camp.
He does a lot of stuff. He went to camp and
played basketball.
And he went to the army in Africa and school. And I haven't seen all of those, but no, I had seen Ernest Goes to Camp, and of course, as you're a kid, it's funny. It's got a lot of humor, and that's what it's made for. This is definitely made for children. And then Ernest Saves
the man
Christmas,
who watches it every year.
I watch it all the time. It's Ernest P. Worrell doing his Ernest P. Worrell stuff. He's a klutz. He's always getting into trouble. Santa Claus comes to Orlando. And he's trying to find his replacement because he's going to retire, and comedy hijinks ensue. And one thing that always bugged me was that I was like, of all places, it's in Orlando, right? So there's no snow, and it doesn't have the Christmas feel to it because of that. Turns out the reason it's in Orlando is this was the first movie that was filmed at the Disney Studios, which is now the theme park down at Disney World. This was the first movie that was filmed on the sound stages at Disney. So now when you watch it and you see he's driving his taxi cab at the beginning and he's supposed to be on the interstate, if you look closely on the back, you can see the signs will say like Epcot this way, Magic Kingdom this way. So they were basically just driving around Disney World and all throughout Orlando to film this. So
they could have gone a little further out then.
Yeah, but the
roads in and out. There's like 6 or 7 lanes, so it makes
looks like an interstate.
An interstate. You just throw some cars on it and say action, and
there you go.
You got an interstate that you don't have to block off.
Yeah, and they filmed at the Orlando airport and downtown and some of those locations. But it is a very simple movie. It's a very low budget film. It's a very corny film. But to me, it's fun. I enjoy it. I don't know if you ask me who it's made for, I would say I think anybody should watch this. They probably get enjoyment, but then again, you have to have the right kind of sense of humor for it, because some people probably see these Ernest movies and go, these are so stupid. They are, but they are in their own magnificent way. Is all I can say.
Nathan, do you even know who Ernest is?
Oh yeah. I saw as a kid Ernest Goes to Camp and Ernest Scared Stupid or something.
We watch that every Halloween. And my kids love that one, but they won't watch this one. They love when he goes to jail. Young.
Yeah, early 90s.
Yeah, late 80s, early
Ernest
90s.
Goes to jail.
Yeah. I kind of haven't seen any of them after that. I've seen him go to jail, go to camp, save Christmas, and get scared stupid. And I haven't seen the other ones because by that point I was, in my 20s, and I'm not into that anymore. But I don't know. I got a soft spot for this movie. So
yeah, as a young kid, I liked them.
Yeah. So I sit up at night and I'll watch this one by myself.
So, since this is Drew's, I'm going to throw in a quick trivia thing. The woman who played Harmony in the movie,
yes,
was actually born on Christmas Day.
Was she really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Her name, I know her name. Her name
Noelle
is
Parker.
Noelle. I was going to say, well, it makes sense if her name is Noelle. That she would have been born, but she was born on Christmas Day.
Yep.
She probably didn't. I don't think she's done too much other than this movie.
Not too well. I mean, her IMDb pretty strong.
She played
she played Amy Fisher in the
Amy Fisher yes.
Story.
Yes. That's probably
she was in Clerks, a TV movie.
Oh, not Clerks as in Kevin Smith.
Correct.
Okay. Then I have not seen that.
Oh, actually, it looks like, they tried to make a TV show out of Clerks.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Jim Brewer would have been in it, or was in it.
But I couldn't have lasted long. I don't even remember them doing that.
Oh, Kerry Russell was in it too.
What the heck?
Yeah, actually had some people in it.
Really? Well,
are you ready for the next one?
Take off. Yeah, we're getting off topic here. Sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
Why don't you go ahead?
Here we go. It is The Ring. No, I'm kidding.
I don't even think that takes place during Christmas.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas. The Jim Carrey Grinch.
100%.
As a kid,
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's well done. My wife had it on a few weeks ago, and I remember as a kid, I thought it was okay. I think I was a little Jim Carrey'd out because I was a big Batman fan, obviously, with my first choice. And when Batman Forever came around and he played the Riddler and he was acting really bonkers, I didn't understand what they did to the Riddler. He never acted like that in the cartoon or in the comics or anything. And he was a serious villain. So I kind of carried that into my first viewing of The Grinch. And I thought it was a little over the top. But every viewing since then, I watched it. I'm like, well, this is actually really good. And one thing I was very impressed by, I don't know if they touched it up or what, but when my wife had it on, the effects, this was made in 2000, the world looks gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
And when he's up at the top of a mountain at the end of the movie with the sled, it just looks really good. It looks like a believable fantasy world. One of the funniest parts of the movie at the end, no spoilers or anything, but Mary Lou Who, she's gonna jump off of the sleigh, and this hilarious scream that she does, you just have to watch that part. I mean, I just cracked up. You can tell that it's loaded. It's a loaded scream with many meanings, but you guys probably don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
I have never seen it. I've seen it.
I'm just going to put it this way. She's really into the Grinch, and it comes out when she jumps off that sleigh. So yeah. Wait, did you say you've never seen it?
I've seen half of it. Now we watch the
okay.
traditional one every year, and my kids now enjoy the Benedict Cumberbatch animated one that just came out 2 years ago. So we've already seen that one again this year, and it was well done. I don't know what it was when it first came out. I had no interest in seeing it because it's like, what's wrong with the one that's, I don't know, it's like the classic one is okay, and you're going to expand the story, and I don't know. I
thought they did a good job expanding it, though. I like how
maybe
they
I need to give it a chance.
Tried to bring him back in, but it was hilarious, because it tells it, it gives him an origin story, and he's got two ladies that are taking care of him. When he shows up many years later, they come running out. He's like, "You're still alive?" It's funny things like that.
Okay, I'll give it a chance. I'll watch it.
It has adult jokes in it too that I did not get as a kid. That's the other part of it. Like there's irony in it, and there are jokes that just flew over my head as a kid. And there's stuff that I was like, oh, that's a hippie joke that they turned into like a sort of a kid's joke, or I don't know, just some of the stuff that they did too. You're like, oh, I can't believe they put that in a kid's movie. I mean, I think it's still rated PG, but it's just, I like the movies now. I have a son now. He's almost 1 year old. I like the things I can show him, and as an adult, I'm entertained. So I would recommend that one to a much wider audience than some of my other picks. I think most people would like that movie, unless you just can't stand Jim Carrey. But he's very good in this role.
Mm-hmm. I will give it a shot.
Okay.
I saw an episode of Graham Norton where he was talking about the Grinch character, and they had to bring in a CIA operative to train Jim Carrey on counter torture things, because the makeup and everything was so tight and so thick on him that he couldn't deal with it. So they literally brought in a CIA guy and told him how to deal with torture, and he would sit there and just pound his leg in between takes, and he would constantly be smoking because he needed all this just because he was going crazy in all of the makeup.
Wow. It is very impressive makeup. I mean, the character design in the movie is unbelievable.
Yeah, they made him look exactly like the classic animated one. So, yeah. I just figured, I don't know, I just thought like you're kind of the same thing with like Jim Carrey, and I enjoy Jim Carrey, but I like he's just going to be over the top goofy.
And he was
kind of like Will Ferrell is now. I mean, I like Will Ferrell, but if you've seen one Will Ferrell movie, you've seen them all, because he's the same dude in every single one, and you're just like,
yeah, it's getting there, yeah.
You know what I mean? The Pauly Shore thing.
In this world, though, like this was. It's interesting bringing humor to the character of the Grinch. That's a new dimension. That's not something I expected. But I don't know. I thought it was a new layer that was welcome after seeing it. So.
Yeah, definitely one of his best roles, in my opinion.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Doug, I think you're next.
Am I up? All right. Third one. Spoiler alert. Look behind me.
White Christmas.
White Christmas. Can't go without watching that every year. It's so growing up, my grandfather was air trooper in World War II, airborne, dropped into Germany a couple times. So I grew up respecting military, and that's what this movie starts out. Bing and Danny Kaye, main actors in the movie, they're over fighting in World War II, and that's how they meet, and that's how they become partners and everything. And they have a general major general, Waverly, and you meet him while they're over there. And anyway, it's a very pro-military pro respect to military. I'm not saying pro war or anything like that, but the respect that shown at the end of the movie, without giving any spoilers, is just a beautiful thing. And that's why one reason I love it. And my brother did a year in Iraq. So anything that has to do with military, I'm always usually 100% in and supporting. But it is, again, a funny movie. There's actually some funny scenes in it. They meet up with the Haynes sisters, played by Rosemary Clooney, George Clooney's aunt, and Vera Ellen, who was in like 5 movies, but just a stunningly gorgeous actress who could dance better than anyone I've ever seen. And she was in like 4 or 5 movies and then just stopped acting. It was weird. I don't know what was going on with that, but it's just a great movie. Again, it's a musical. You're looking at the same people. You probably want to be a little bit older. But if your kid enjoys music, it might be a movie worth watching as a kid, because there are some great Christmas music in it. There's some original songs in it. The song White Christmas originally from Holiday Inn was so popular that they made built a movie around that song. So it was just just a fun movie. Every year when we decorate the Christmas tree, we would play the White Christmas album, play a lot of the songs from the movie, and then a lot of other traditional Christmas songs. So it was just something I grew up with every year. So every year I got to watch this one too.
Cool. Who would you recommend it for then?
Same as Going My Way. Probably a little bit older. Like I said, if you got kids who really love music, then they can get into it, because there's some they sing some songs in there that kids would recognize, traditional Christmas songs as well as other
I guess you said
original
some that
songs.
I was thinking ahead a little bit.
That's all right. So that's number 3 for me. Drew, what else you got?
Okay, I'm gonna touch on yours real quick.
Yeah, man.
I remember I don't know how old I was, 19, maybe 20, I don't know. But I had a friend who is, he went to school to make movies. So we used to do this all the time. Like, he'd get his editing out and stuff. So we thought at the time we would try to do something to make like a Christmas video for our girlfriends at the time. And he had a projection TV. So we projected White Christmas onto the projection TV, and we staged it so that I was standing directly in front of Bing Crosby, and he was standing directly in front of Danny Kaye, and we had red, and we had our Christmas hats on, and we moved our mouth to them singing when they were all standing in a group. So it made it. So we were trying to do Forrest Gump. We were trying to like insert ourselves into the movie, and the only technology we had was a big projection TV. If we get a ladder and we match the height, you could, and you had to like mimic the movements, like when you're moving your hands and stuff like that.
Wow.
So we
nice.
It looked, for what we had, it looked okay, but there were times where you could see Bing Crosby, like, because it wasn't always that one shot. It was close-ups and then back out, and close-ups and back out. So occasionally Bing Crosby's face is just all over the place. So we decided to scrap it. We never finished it. But
I'd love to see that.
I would love to find it. I would love to see that too again, because we watched. He's like, this doesn't look too bad. Oh, yeah, that looks horrible there. Now that doesn't look bad. But yeah. So all right. Anyway. So my next one is another one that I don't know why I watched this. I think it was on like multiple times in a row one day, and I kind of like just had it on in the background. So I was like half watching it. But then by the third viewing, I kind of like, I've seen this whole movie now. And I still find this funny. It's 4 Christmases with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon.
Interesting. I've never seen that.
It's actually okay. So they're a couple. They're not married, and they have to visit his parents who are divorced. So they have to go to his dad's, to her mom's, to his mom's house, and then to her dad's house, all in one day. And they were supposed to be out of town. They were like, they planned a vacation to get out so they didn't have to deal with all this stuff, and their flight gets canceled. So it's like, now we have to do these Christmases. So they go to their dad's house, and it's Robert Duvall plays his dad. John Favreau is one of his brothers, and he's trying to, he's got nephews who are brats, and they have a code word to get at mistletoe. If I say mistletoe, that's our code word. We got to get out of here. And it's just a disaster. They go to her mom's. She's, a baby pukes. And I think this is why I relate to Vince Vaughn, because if I see that, I do the same thing. I gag. This baby pukes all over Reese Witherspoon, and he's over there going like, "You got to get away from me. I'm going to do it too. You got to go." Kicking him out. And go to his mom's. His mom is now dating one of his friends when growing up, so that's awkward. It's just a mess throughout the entire day. So the more I watched it, I was like, hey, this is actually really entertaining. This is funny. They have to do the nativity scene at church, and Joseph and Mary aren't there. So he and Reese Witherspoon have to play Joseph and Mary, and she forgets her line. So he just takes over the whole show in the Vince Vaughn way, Yeah. And he's up there doing dances, and he's ad-libbing lines. And yeah, so it's one of those that when I see it on TV, it's like, I'll just watch this. This is entertaining. And this is definitely not for kids. So
I was going to ask, who's this one for?
This is definitely an adult film. So they while he's at his dad's, he kind of ruins the Christmas magic for his nephews on accident. And he's like, they're this age. I thought they knew, No, well, they do now. That's what they say. So yeah. So anyway, that's my other one I would recommend.
Okay. All right. Before I reveal my last one, guys, I had actually saved a special beer for this podcast. Shiner Holiday Cheer.
Oh, look at that.
With notes of peaches and pecans. It's actually
I'm allergic to it.
You're allergic to it?
I can't do it. I'm allergic to nuts.
Oh, bummer.
I'm allergic to flavored beer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a big flavored beer fan either, but this one is surprisingly good. So I'm kind of a craft beer snob, but I would recommend this beer, and I would drink it over a regular Shiner. So there you go.
Where's that brewed from?
Let's see.
Shiner,
Texas, Swetzel Brewery.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So my last one is the Star Wars Holiday Christmas Special.
You
No,
lie.
I'm kidding. Actually,
You are
that was
a liar.
really hard to watch.
Yeah.
So the one we watched it last year in December, so you can watch that on our page too. But there is another movie that I've always kind of liked, and it's quite a different movie for me to pick. It's called The Holiday. Have you ever seen it?
A Holiday?
The Holiday.
The Holiday. Is that
Cameron
with?
Diaz?
Yep.
Kate Winslet, Jack Black, and Jude Law. All right. So Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz both live in these really cool houses, but they're totally different. Like Cameron Diaz cut like movie trailers in LA. So she has this big LA mansion in the movie. And Kate Winslet lives in this like little village cottage with, snow coming down in England, I believe. And they're both having a terrible time dating. And so they decide they're going to trade houses for the holiday. So they do. And in their respective places, they meet Jack Black and Jude Law, and there are some other guys involved. So they're trying to figure out adult dating problems. So that's one of the reasons it's interesting to watch as an adult. I think I first watched it when I was like 19 or 20. I mean, this one's going to be, if you don't like warm, mushy, romantic movies, you might not like this. But if you're a guy who you're trying to find, let's say, a chick flick, a Christmas chick flick that you might actually enjoy because your wife or girlfriend or someone wants to watch one of these movies, I would pick this one because it has great acting, has a pretty good soundtrack, and Jack Black is serious in this role. And I'm always intrigued when someone like Jim Carrey or Jack Black, who's known for comedy, when they try to bring a serious role to a movie. And I don't know why, but just as like a character study, I'm an artist, I'm a musician, I like to just see what they can do. So that kind of intrigued me, and I liked his character quite a bit. So yeah, I would recommend that movie, but it is more for of the, you're looking for a romantic comedy. But yeah, as an adult, if you're encountering the dating challenges that adults always face, and especially with kids, I think it's an interesting movie. And yeah, I think if you're a Jack Black fan, you'll find it interesting too. But it's not going to be your crazy typical Jack Black movie. It's not going to be like Tenacious D or anything. But there's going to be little hints of rock and roll Jack Black.
I had not heard of that movie. I don't think I've heard of that one.
Date Night.
Yeah. It's a good movie. Jack Black reminds me, or I would imagine this is what Jack Black is like when he's not in front of a camera.
Oh yeah. So you've seen this? Yeah.
I said I hadn't, but you started talking about it. I was like, wait a second, I've seen this.
And he
I
does
knew
play
of the
composer,
movie, but
doesn't he? Yeah, he writes film music or something.
Yeah, something.
Yeah,
like that.
And so there is a little bit of
ago.
a creative, like you've got Cameron Diaz playing the movie trailer, director, and Jack Black being a musician. You do have something there for the Jack Black crowd who's followed him throughout his career. I think if you like School of Rock, and you've gotten a little older since you saw that movie. I saw it in high school. This is like 10 years later, you watch this. So
it is interesting, like as you mentioned, to see actors who are a certain way play a completely different role, and like how is that? Dan Aykroyd, for example, he's known for his comedies, and he's always kind of the same kind of guy. He's very smart with like technical terms and some of the things that he can he just rambles stuff off. But in 1990, he was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in Driving Miss Daisy.
I didn't even know he was in that.
Yeah, it's a completely serious role. I mean, he doesn't make jokes at all. He is 100% serious. And it was weird watching that, going, Dan Aykroyd, seeing him be serious, and so he got nominated for an Academy Award for that. And then the next year he got nominated for a Razzie for Worst Supporting Actor for Nothing But Trouble. But
you know what I think it does? It like makes them relatable, because if they're only a comedy on screen, we kind of assume that they are like that off stage. But when you start to see something like this, it's like, oh, it unlocks a new dimension of your understanding of them as a person. I mean, that might sound silly, but Jim Carrey in The Truman Show and in
I was about
Majestic,
to say that one.
Those are two movies that he's serious in that I really liked.
Well, I mean, if you grew up in the 80s, you remember Tom Hanks pre-Philadelphia.
Remember Bosom Buddies?
Yeah, Bosom Buddies. You got the volcano one.
Joe versus the volcano.
Splash. He was a goofy dude. Bachelor Party. I mean, he was a goofy dude, and then all of a sudden,
John Candy, the Explorers
versus Explorers, and Joe versus the Volcano. Both of those, and Splash. I mean,
John Candy was in Splash with him.
Yeah, he did a lot of John Candy movies.
Yeah,
and he was that goofy actor, and if you remember watching Big, I mean, that's what all his roles were. He always blew up. The Burbs. Another one where he was just this goofy, I'm sick, take me to the hospital. Just And then all of a sudden it was like, Philadelphia doesn't look funny at all.
No.
And just what this guy can act.
Yeah. I mean,
and then the next year, Forrest Gump, he wins 2 Oscars in a row.
And then
it's
Apollo 13 after that.
Yeah. It's just like, what happened to goofy Tom Hanks? But, that serious actor was always in him.
Yeah.
So.
Do we have, we talked about quickly throwing out some TV episodes that were good to watch around Christmas. Do you guys have any ideas for that before we sign off?
I do. One of my favorite TV shows is Psych.
Oh, yeah.
And they did a couple Christmas episodes. One was called Christmas Joy, where Sean revealed that Sean hooked up with his best friend Gus's sister at Christmas. Another one is it's kind of a take on It's a Wonderful Life. Sean is shown by his guardian angel, who can appear however he wants him to appear. This time he's in the form of a midget or a dwarf or whatever whatever you want to say. Little person. Played by Tony Cox. What is his name? So there's that one. And they're just, fun little Christmas episodes that they put together. So, and Psyche, by the way, is just a fantastic TV show. If you've never seen it, watch it.
Absolutely. Yep. If we're talking TV, biggest one that always makes me laugh, I think of Friends and the Holiday Armadillo. So Ross has a young boy, and he wanted to dress up like Santa Claus for him. Well, he waited to the last second to get a Santa costume, and they were all sold out. The only thing he could get was his armadillo costume. So he's like, I'm the Holiday Armadillo. And then Joey shows up dressed like Superman for some reason. And then Chandler shows up. He found a Santa Claus outfit, and it was just like this whole mess of all these guys in different costumes. And but they all made it work at the end, which was pretty good. But I just love
I've never seen that.
The Holiday Armadillo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who's part Jewish. Just like Ross. Anyway, yeah, TV wise, I'd say that.
I have 3 here on mine. I mean, the one everybody knows is The Office. There's awesome Office Christmas episodes.
The Benihana Christmas.
Benihana.
Oh,
Christmas,
yeah.
One.
And then there's the one where they the iPod debacle.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's pretty funny. Secret Santa on The Office. But
some of the best bloopers is from the one where Phyllis dresses up as Santa, but she wouldn't let Kevin sit on her lap. So Michael comes. If you look up the bloopers for that, oh man, Michael plays that part perfectly.
Yeah, and you can see the other actors in the back actually laughing because they can't handle him. Because as soon as he sits down, he's like, oh.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Good stuff.
I think I'm having a cable go bad here. Started buzzing. My favorite, I think, on my list is, you guys remember the 90s animated Tick episodes?
Yeah.
The Tick, the big blue
I never
superhero.
watched them, but I know of. Yeah.
It's goofy, so it's funny. The Tick Loves Santa. Look that episode up on streaming. It's pretty hilarious. And it basically, like, there's an evil Santa running around, but like the Tick loves Santa, so like he can't handle there being an evil Santa. It's pretty funny. And they
did something like that with Teen Titans Go.
Animated
series. They always have Christmas episodes, and Santa's a bad guy in all of them. So, and he'll team up with the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did on the Tick. It was pretty funny. The last one I had on my list was Merry Christmas, Mr. Bean.
Oh, I love Mr.
You guys remember Mr. Bean?
Oh, God, yes. Remember getting his turkey stuck on his head?
I spent years like practicing his face. Not quite right.
Yeah. Rowan Atkinson, for not saying ever a word, is hilarious. And Friends actually ripped off the turkey on the head deal from Mr. Bean.
Yes, I saw that. I saw somebody sent me that GIF on Thanksgiving Day on my phone, and I was like, "Hey, wait a sec!" So then I pulled up the one of Mr. Bean, and from the Mr. Bean movie. That one's pretty funny. He, lifts up his head, and he's got the turkey on there. I mean,
turkey on his head. Yep. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Bean.
Did you see
that's
Rowan
all I
Atkinson
got on my list?
Did you see him at the Olympics?
No, was it the Olympics?
Oh, dude. When you're off just YouTube, Rowan Atkinson Olympics.
Okay.
You won't regret it. Will not regret it.
I do have one more episode that I thought of that I really enjoy Christmassy. My favorite TV show of all time is, and this is odd for someone my age, is the Andy Griffith Show, but only the first 5 seasons.
I would never have guessed that.
Yeah. The first 5 seasons are black and white. It's got Don Knotts on it. It's got Jim Namers as Gomer. It's great. Season 6, 7, and 8, it went to color, got new writers. There's no Don Knotts. It's a completely different show. So the first 5 seasons. But anyway, in season 1, they had a Christmas episode. Ben Weaver is the old man in town who runs the department store, and he's a grump and a Scrooge. And it's kind of a take on A Christmas Carol in a way. You've got the old grumpy dude. He's got a family that he wants them jailed because they're not paying rent like they're supposed to. So he has to put them in jail. And Andy keeps letting them out to have a Christmas party since they can't go home. And Ben's all lonely and he wants to come in. But anyway, it's one of those, being the grumpy old guy and turning him around to being nice at the end of it. So yeah, that's another one that I watch a lot. It's my mom's favorite. I think her favorite Christmas episode of any TV show too. So
okay, yeah.
And since you brought up A Christmas Carol, I'm going back to a movie just real quick. Completely underrated performance in Scrooged by Bill Murray. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. That might be the funniest movie he's ever done.
It's great.
At least for me. I mean, he is the most sarcastic person ever, being visited by ghosts, going back in time, seeing him as a kid, as a young adult, seeing his future, his family. And I love the fact that his family is actually in the movie too.
Yeah, his brothers
dad's in it. His brothers are in it. It's just, a family affair. And the way it ends, I mean, everyone knows how Christmas Carol ends, so I'm not spoiling anything. Obviously, he turns around, but he's a TV executive, and he interrupts a live broadcast to give this amazing speech about everything he learned and everything. And then he just gets the entire cast and crew to start singing.
Put a little love in your heart.
You put a little love in your heart, yeah. And just a great way. He's basically breaking the fourth wall at the end. He's talking to the crowd. All right, this side of the audience start singing this, and this side of the audience. I mean, it's just a phenomenal movie, and he's so funny in it the entire time. It's just something I had to mention.
Yeah, and it's a great take on the Christmas Carol story. There are so many different versions of it. That's a great one. We always watch the Muppet Christmas Carol. That's one that we get into. I know Dizzy had the Mickey's Christmas Carol when we were younger. We used to watch that one.
George C. Scott version.
Yeah, he did one.
We kind of grew up on that.
Patrick Stewart did one, which is amazing.
I think everyone's done one.
Yeah, but we always used to watch. I should say we used to watch, but there was one with Alistair Sims, 1951. That came on at 10:30 on Christmas Eve every night when I was a kid, and that's what I was telling these guys. That's when I knew I was supposed to go to bed. It's like when that started, it was bedtime. It's kind of like MASH. When MASH came on, it was time to go to bed. So, but yeah, there's a lot of good versions of that. But Scrooged is fantastic. You're right. His sarcasm, like, we can't get the antlers on this little guy's head. Have you tried staples? Like,
are you serious?
Oh, what a jerk.
Yeah. Great role for him.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. And we are going in a little bit of a different direction for 2025. We will be going through the first season of the Daredevil Netflix series, revisiting it because Daredevil Born Again, the new series, is coming out. And that's in March, I believe. So we're kind of prepping for that. We'll be releasing episodes, going through every single episode. So, yeah, if you want to start watching to prep for Born Again, follow along with our show, and we'll see you soon.
See you later.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Feliz Navidad.
Sure.